The rain poured heavily as Olabisi sat by the window, watching the water wash away the footprints on the dusty ground. It reminded her of how easily she had been erased from her husband's heart. Once, Adebayo had called her the love of his life. Now, she was just a shadow in their home, unwanted and unloved. What had she done to deserve this? Was it her fault that her womb refused to carry a child? She wept her tears as Adebayo's voice echoed from the sitting room, laughing with his second wife, Shade, the woman he had brought into their home, the woman who now carried his child. Olabisi clenched her fist. If only she had known that love could turn to betrayal so easily. Maybe she could have prepared her heart for the storm ahead. For 7 years, Olabisi and Adebayo had waited for a child. At first, Adebayo was patient, but as time passed, his patience turned to frustration. The warmth in his voice disappeared, replaced by cold silence. Olabisi prayed, fasted and visited every herbalist and healer she could find. She drank bitter roots and bathed in special waters, hoping for a miracle. But nothing changed. Then one evening, Adebayo came home with news that shattered her world. "I have taken another wife," he announced, his tone firm. "I need a child to carry my name." Olabisi stared at him, her heart pounding. "Adebayo, what are you saying?" "My mind is made up," he said, walking away. That night, Olabisi cried until her pillow was soaked. Shade was young, full of energy, and soon she was pregnant. Adebayo treated her like a queen, buying her gifts and making sure she lacked nothing. Meanwhile, Olabisi became invisible. The whispers in the village were unbearable. Poor Olabisi, the barren wife has lost her place. She tried to endure, but each day felt like torture. Then one evening, as she served Adebayo his meal, he looked at her and said, "Maybe if you leave, you will find peace." "Leave? After these years?" Olabisi wiped her hands on her wrapper, nodding slowly. "Maybe you are right, Adebayo." Months passed and Shade went into labor, but something went wrong. The baby was born weak and Shade's health began to fail. Adebayo ran from one healer to another, but nothing worked. In his desperation, he turned to the one person he has cast aside. "Olabisi," he said, falling to his knees, "please help me. I was a fool." Olabisi stared at him. The man who had once thrown her away now begged for her help. She had every reason to walk away, but something inside her wouldn't let her. She stepped into the room, took the fragile baby into her hands, and did what she knew best. She cared. Shade, weak and full of regret, whispered, "I am sorry, Olabisi." Olabisi nodded, but she knew one thing for sure. She could never stay in this house again. After helping Shade recover, Olabisi packed her bags and left for Ibadan, where she started a small fabric business. With time, she found happiness not in a child, but in peace and purpose. Eventually, she met a widower who treated her with love and respect. Meanwhile, Adebayo lived with regret. Shade left him, taking their child with her. Olabisi pulled her wrapper tightly around her as she stood at the roadside, watching buses roll past. It has been years since she last saw a bustling city like Ibadan. Back in Iseyin, her life had revolved around Adebayo, their home, and the endless search for a child. But now, she was alone, no husband, no child, no direction. Just her small bag and a heart full of pain. "Where do I start?" she whispered. But one thing was clear. She would rather struggle alone than remain in a marriage where she was treated like nothing. With one deep breath, she took a step forward. Her new life had just begun. Starting over was not easy. Olabisi rented a small one-room apartment in Ibadan. Using the little money she had saved over the years, she knew she had to find a way to survive, so she went to the bustling market of Dugbe, where women sold fabric and textiles. At first, she only watched, studying how the women bargained, how they lured customers with sweet words. Then one day, she approached an elderly woman, Mama Ibeji, who had a thriving fabric shop. "Good afternoon, ma," Olabisi greeted with a small bow. "Please, I want to learn this business. I will work for you for free if you teach me." Mami Ibeji studied her for a moment and then smiled. "You remind me of my younger self. Come tomorrow morning, we will see what you can do." And that was how Olabisi's journey into the fabric business began. Shade, his once beloved second wife, had become difficult. She no longer showered him with the love and admiration she once did. Instead, she complained constantly about money, about their child, about how life was what she did not expect. "You spend too much time in that your farm, Adebayo," she snapped one evening. "You should be making more money, not wasting time on crops." Adebayo sighed. This was not the life he had imagined when he took another wife. Then one evening, he returned home to find the house empty. Shade was gone, and so was their child. She had left a note on the table. "I cannot continue like this. I'm going back to my family." Adebayo collapsed into a chair, rubbing his face in frustration. First, he had lost Olabisi. Now, Shade has abandoned him. Months passed, and Olabisi became one of the best fabric sellers in Dogwe market. She was no longer the timid woman who cried over a loveless marriage. She had found strength in her independence. One day, a customer walked into her shop. A tall, well-dressed man carrying a little girl. He looked familiar, but she couldn't place where she had seen him before. "Good afternoon," he greeted warmly. "I need a few pieces of Ankara for my daughter." Olabisi smiled and began showing him fabrics. As they spoke, she learned his name is Kunle. He was a widower, raising his 5-year-old daughter alone. Days turned into weeks, and Kunle became a regular customer. He was kind, patient, and respectful, everything Adebayo had never seen. Soon their friendship blossomed into something deeper. One evening, as they sat in a small restaurant, Kunle reached for Olabisi's hand. "I know you've been hurt before," he said gently, "but I see the strength in you. I would be honored if you gave me a chance." For the first time in years, Olabisi felt a warmth she thought she had lost forever. Back in Iseyi, Adebayo's farm had suffered due to neglect. The once proud man had become a shadow of himself. He spent his nights drinking, his heart heavy with regret. One day he decided to travel to Ibadan in search of Olabisi. When he found her, she was standing in her shop, smiling as she attended to customers. She looked radiant, happier than he had ever seen her. Adebayo stepped forward. "Olabisi," he called hesitantly. She turned, and for a moment their eyes met. The man she had once loved was now broken, just as she had been. "I came to say I'm sorry," Adebayo whispered. "I was a fool." Olabisi nodded but said nothing. "Can we start over?" he pleaded. "I miss you." She took a deep breath, then gave him a small sad smile. "Adebayo, I have forgiven you," she said softly, "but I can never go back to what broke me." She turned and walked away, leaving Adebayo standing there, his heart filled with regret. Olabisi later got married to Tunde, who cherished her deeply. Though she never had children of her own, she became a loving stepmother to Kunle's daughter, who adored her. As for Adebayo, he lived with the pain of his mistake. He had lost the one woman who truly loved him, and there was no going back. The sun had begun to set over Ibadan as Olabisi sat outside her shop, watching traders pack up their goods for the day. A soft breeze brushed against her face, bringing a sense of calm. She had come a long way from the broken woman Adebayo abandoned. Now she had a thriving business, a peaceful home, and a man who treated her with respect. Yet deep inside, there was a part of her that still carried the scars of her past. Could she truly move forward, or would her past come knocking again? As she pondered, a familiar voice interrupted her thoughts. Olabisi. Long time. She turned sharply. Standing before her was Shade, the woman who had once stolen her place in Adebayo's life. Olabisi's heart pounded as she stared at Shade. She was thinner, her face worn out with stress. Shade, she asked in disbelief, "What are you doing here?" Shade sighed, her eyes filled with regret. "I had nowhere else to go." A long silence stretched between them before Olabisi finally asked, "Where is Adebayo?" Shade let out a bitter laugh. "Gone. I left him." Olabisi frowned. "Why?" Shade lowered her head. "The same way he treated you, he treated me. He stopped caring. He became angry, impatient, and bitter. I thought having his child would make him love me, but I was wrong." Olabisi felt a strange mix of emotion, anger, and pity. Shade wiped her eyes. "I came to say I'm sorry, Olabisi. I thought I was winning, but I was only walking into my own suffering." Olabisi studied the woman before her, once her rival, now broken just as she has once been. She took a deep breath. "I forgave you a long time ago, Shade. But forgiveness doesn't mean we can go back to how things were." Shade nodded. "I understand." They stood in silence for a moment before Olabisi asked, "What will you do now?" "I don't know," Shade admitted. "I just need a fresh start." Olabisi hesitated, then said, "There is a woman in Dokwe Market, Mami Ibeji. She helped me when I had nothing. If you are willing to work hard, she can help you too." Shade's eyes widened in surprise. "You will help me?" Olabisi smiled lightly. "We all make mistakes, Shade. The important thing is what we do after." Shade broke down in tears. Meanwhile, back in Iseyin, Adebayo's life had only worsened. His farm had failed due to lack of care, and he had no one to turn to. He had lost both his wives, his child, and his reputation. One evening, he sat outside his empty house, staring into darkness. He had spent years chasing the wrong things, only to end up with nothing. Regret burned deep within him. If only he had been patient. If only he had valued Olabisi. If only he had realized that love was more than just having children. But now it was too late. Weeks passed and Shade began working at Obdogwe Market, determined to rebuild her life. She and Olabisi were not friends, but they found an understanding. Two women who had survived the same storm. Meanwhile, Kunle continued to shower Olabisi with love and care. One evening as they walked through the quiet streets of Ibadan, Kunle stopped and took her hands. "Olabisi," he said softly, "I know your past have left you with wounds, but I want you to know that I will never take your love for granted." Tears welled in Olabisi's eyes. She had waited so long to hear those words. "I love you, Kunle," she whispered, and for the first time in a long while, she felt truly at peace. The lesson I learned in this story is that forgiveness is for your own good, not necessarily for reconciliation. True love is built on patience, respect, and kindness, not just on children. Karma always finds those who mistreat others. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, Leave your thoughts in the comments and please do not forget to subscribe to this channel till I come your way again with another interesting story. Bye.